Chapter 2 of Clippings by Bret Williams. I've made a 20-year career out of pruning and preening man's best friend. I don't remember the exact date when I developed this knack for communicating with the canine friends. It was sometime in my mid-20s. That's only a few years ago, 7, almost 8 years. My first conversation was with a Chihuahua while relaxing in the park. It was Saturday afternoon and I was not working that day for some reason. Oh wait, I remember. Earlier that week, the vet clinic fired me. They had a problem with how often I talked with the receptionist, a hot, petite, tiny-footed Korean girl. Every time I talked to her, all I could think of was her tiny feet walking on my tired back after a long day of standing at the grooming table. In my mind, she walked up and down the length of my back, those tiny toes digging into the muscles along my spine, the balls of her feet pushing into my shoulder blades, and her firm heels releasing each cramped vertebrae with a pop. It would have been awesome, but I never could convince her to do me. Not for lack of trying, though. Something about Asian girls' feet. They're usually small, clean, and manicured, and I would love to have some on my back right now. They fired me for always bothering her, and that's why I wasn't working that Saturday. I was lying on a blanket in a busy public park, soaking in the sun when a Chihuahua ran toward me. He was chasing a bug or a ball or running from his annoying kid owner. He ran smack into my plastic cup of beer, knocking it over on my blanket. Then, as if nothing happened, he kept on running. I was pissed, in more ways than one, and I hollered at him, "Watch what you're doing, stupid mutt." He stopped mid-stride and turned around toward me. Then, to lay down a threat, he jumped forward a few inches. I thought he was about to let loose a barking tirade, but instead, he cocked his head to the left and perked his ears. They look cute when they do that, but most of the time they're calling you an idiot. He glared right at me and said, or thought, in a confident voice, "You're lucky I didn't pee in it." Jumping one more hop forward, he yelled, "I should have peed in it." He was serious as a 5-pound dog can be. Finally, he backed his words with a traditional bark and assumed an attack dog position with his front paws spread forward, his hind quarters raised, and his teeth bared for attack. He's just 5 pounds, so he's not very intimidating. I was shocked. He had just said something to me. He turned his tail to me, dug his paws into the ground, and started shoveling grass on my blanket. I yelled at him, "Hey, quit, you dumb mutt!" The kid who was supposedly watching him turned and wandered away. I called to him to get his stupid dog. The few empty beer cans, evidence of my Saturday lunch, were scattered on my blanket. So I guess the kid was smart to walk away. After shoveling the grass, that stupid Mexican mutt turned his head to me and yelled in his thick New York accent, "Who you callin' stupid? You better leave my park or me and my friends here are gonna rip you a new hole." That settled it. I was going crazy. And that Brooklyn talking, butt sniffing Mexican flea bag was causing it. But he said he had friends. I didn't see any friends, but it made me wonder if they could talk too. The obvious answer was that I was, in fact, going crazy. That event, besides making me question my sanity, laid out a challenge. Could I commune with any other member of the animal kingdom? Extra walks around the neighborhood gave me chances to listen to cats. I listened to hamsters at the pet store, listened to a stupid frog on the sidewalk. No words came from them, but from stray dogs, from dogs on leashes, from dogs in the park, from dogs in the pet store came words, real English words. There were a few foreign dogs I couldn't understand. I had to look up the meaning of tocino. Without a job, I had fewer chances of meaningful canine confabs. So, what should I do with my new superpower? I messed with any dog I ran across, of course. I talked to them about their owners. I'd say things like, "Hey, Poochie, your mama has a fine tail." Or, "Go pee on that guy over there." Or, "I've got bacon, tengo tocino," for the Spanish dogs. I would say anything to get a rise out of them. No, it wasn't a very constructive use of my skill, but why not have some fun? They'd hit me back with that crooked-headed look, but to the opposite side. You see, one side is the "you're an idiot, what are you doing" side, and the other side is the "did you just say bacon" side. Try it with your dog sometime. You'll be amazed how often your dog thinks you're a total imbecile. Even though they don't understand you, they still assume you're an idiot. In an effort to use my skill more fruitfully and to buy some food for my table, I applied for a job at another vet clinic. Too bad for me, they had a little Vietnamese girl for a receptionist too. I got fired again for the same behavioral infraction, as they called it. Eventually, I had to open my own shop. It took some capital. It took a lot of time too. It's the shop I'm in now. It's a hole in the wall. No retail space is preset to accommodate a dog grooming shop. So I had to install sinks, move in furniture, and build out a reception area. When I first opened the doors to the public, Clippings was a sweet-looking place. The view of the dumpster and the one parking space were things I couldn't control. But having a creative mind, I stenciled dog silhouettes around these and other unsightly features. At the time, the economy was booming. Dog owners were willing to put so much money into haircuts that I could charge $100. That's crazy. Even I know these dogs don't care what they look like, and people shouldn't either. But I was glad the owners were willing to pay. Now the economy is in the gutter, and I struggle to pay the rent and the power. A steady flow of customers helps with the bills, but I still have the problem of deciding which creditor gets the check at the end of the month. And it's tough to improve the shop when I'm stuck at the grooming table. The walls could use a new coat of paint, the floors could use a polishing, and the doors could stand up to be rehung. There are too many projects and not enough time. As far as business goes, Saturdays are the craziest. Everybody is off work and wants to drop their dogs for the day. They're one free day of the week, and they don't even spend it with their dogs. It makes me wonder what they do with their kids. Me, I don't have any kids. I have a girlfriend of a couple of years, a mother who lives some 800 miles away, and a few friends I have collected from other jobs, but no kids. I talk bad of other owners, but my dogs don't get better treatment from me, so maybe I shouldn't throw stones. Max, a freaky Pomeranian, is one of my clients on this Saturday. Pomeranians are those toy dogs that look like tiny lions. They usually have a puffy fur mane around their face and a pointy snout. I guess they look more like foxes than lions. When you see them, you think pom-pom with legs. Max has a great personality and fun stories. He always talks about the fancy life his family leads, his travels on the yacht, in the plane, in the RV, and on the motorcycle. When his owner drives the motorcycle, Max wears a pair of goggles and perches in the sidecar. "Hey man," he says to me, because I don't share my name. Man works fine for me. I guess one day I'll tell him. But those kind of formalities never really crossed my mind. "Hey man, check this out," he says, and sticks his tongue out to touch his nose, just the very tip of his tongue. "That's great, Max. Every dog can do that. And it's the same thing you showed me last time and the time before and every time you've been in my shop since you were a puppy 4 years ago." "Yep, and I'll show you again next time. Watch what else I can do." He sticks his hind leg up in the air and starts to moisten his genitals with his tongue. "Oh, please stop," I beg him. "It's just bragging, and you shouldn't try to make people jealous." Dogs don't know much about being polite, though. And they definitely don't know anything about being humble. Not to be mean, but after that stunt, I leash him in place under the metal arm hanging over the table. It's not a means of punishment, but in the case when dogs get rowdy, I tighten the leash to keep them in place. There's no need to punish this kid for his sense of humor, but he seems hyper today. A little prevention goes a long way. "I'm not a bragger," he snorts and changes the subject. "This weekend, I went on that big boat again. I hate the water, But every time we go, my owner, what do you call him? Bob? I'll just call him Bob. Bob brings around some really smoking chicks, if you know what I mean. His tail wags a little more. As he goes on about this and that, I'm getting my blades and my shears ready. I line up everything, a doctor ready for surgery. When you need your tools, they should be right there, ready to snatch up and clip. Dogs can move fast, and you have to be prepared to stab in, change directions, trim, straighten, whatever at the turn of a head. They move like lightning if you snip an ear, too. You can try to imagine yourself as a stealthy ninja, aware all the time, but when they decide to bite, it's fast, and there's no ninja skill to save you from the nip. I've got muzzles set aside for some of the less cooperative customers. Max is a good kid, though. A little too wordy when you just want to get your job done, but at least I don't have to talk too much. How do you know what a smoking hot is, anyway? I ask. The smell, man. Uh-huh. How's it smell? You know it when you walk up on it. I can't explain it, but just want to ride that hottie. Like they've been rolling in dead bird or something, or like, whoa, stop right there. You listen to me, because I'm the one with the scissors, I say. I wave my shears in front of his face. You don't go around talking about chicks like that. That's my species, and you better not be riding anything like it's a dead bird. That was my good deed for the day. Now maybe one less lady will get their leg humped by Max, the Pomeranian horn dog. He cocks his head to the side. No, man, not a people thing, a dog thing, not your species. How does that even work? Gross. You know what? Don't even tell me. I mean, 2 legs? It can't work. I give a thought to explaining, but I have better ways to waste my time. Oh, I get it. I let the conversation move on. Hot chick people? He says. Gross. They don't smell like anything like what I'm talking about. Anyway, so he's always bringing these hot bitches to the boat. They show up with a lot of people, or sometimes just 1 or 2. I get my pick of the litter, usually a punny pom-pom. Most of them just lie around, so I lay around with them and sniff their tails. He reflectively sighs. Good times. I ask him, who are these fancy people? But right as I ask, and he's about to break into a description, in comes Wendy, my soulmate. Queen of the best times ever. She's been in my life for 2 or 3 years now. She's got a great smile, decent-sized rack, and a cute little pooter, too. She still dresses like she's in her early 20s. Tight jeans, loose-neck shirt, dangling earrings, dark eyeshadow. She's made up like an embarrassed teenager's mom. She has a few tattoos in the right places, and we met at a bar down the street. Who are you talking to? She asks as she pokes her head in the room. I heard you saying something about hot and dead birds. I point to my earpiece with a look of just a minute and say into the air, Hey, Mark, I have to let you go. A customer just came in. I pause for theatrics. Talk at you later. Peace. I pretend to turn off my earpiece. It works every time. That was Mark, I say. He was thinking about cooking chicken for dinner. Get it? Hot dead birds? Her slow nod tells me she doesn't really buy it. So I throw her a bone to make it all believable. Okay, we were talking about women, not birds, chicks. But not dead chicks, hot chicks. As a side note, that's not the best thing to tell your girlfriend. I should have insisted Mark was cooking dinner. Mark? I don't know any Mark, she says. But will you please just do your job? We've got 5 more dogs in the back, and I want to go out. The rodeo clowns are playing tonight, remember? At the Iron Star? And the show starts at 8. So just do your job and get us out of here on time. Just do your job, she says. Yes, she's got a lot of good assets, and that's why she's my girlfriend. But I don't know if she's a shop assistant, if this shop assistant thing will work out. She worked here for a little over a month, and I feel like she's bringing too much attitude when she talks about my work habits. One day I'll tell her how things should work around here. Tell her how she can hit the road and find another job, another place to live, another boyfriend. If she doesn't respect me as a man and her boss, maybe today is the day. But the front door's magnetic bell dings. Good thing for her. I might have fired her. As she turns to the front of the shop, she spanks her butt for me. Of course, I melt and give in. You're right, I'll stop farting around and get busy. The Rambo Clash is playing tonight. I'm not going to fire that fine piece of tail. Rodeo clowns, she yells back. Right, maybe next time I'll straighten out her attitude. What did she say? Max asks, looking up my nose from the grooming table. She looked like she wanted to kick your tail. What's a Rambo Clash? Mind your own business, I say. It's a people thing, and you don't need to worry about your furry little nuggets over it. And that's when it happens. Like lightning, he grabs my finger with his little razor-sharp teeth, looks me right in the eyes, and growls a primal growl. No blood is shed. We are friends. Okay, easy, I say. I get it. He lets me go. No harm done. You don't need to be talking about my furry little nuggets, he says and spits out my finger. Okay, sorry, I get it. Was that Mark again? Will you quit talking and get to work? Wendy yells from the front of the shop. End of chapter 2.